So, have you ever felt behind in life? I know I did, especially before I moved to Japan. I think it was definitely one of the biggest reasons as to why I decided to move. And I'd like to talk about that today because it's this sort of weird sinking feeling when you go out and look at your friends and your family and other people on the internet, because it's so easy to just look on the internet and be like, oh, these guys are doing this or like doing this with their lives, and then you get into that comparison mode that your brain does, and you just feel bad about everything. See, I remember, so the reason why I decided to go to Japan was because I was feeling those feelings. So straight out of high school, I actually didn't do like I wouldn't say correct path, but my path was very windy and not straightforward, not linear at all. So first out, going out of high school, graduating high school, I knew I wanted to do music because I was a musician. I started on the trumpet and I wanted to play all sorts of things, and my dad got me a guitar for my my 14th or so birthday, and I got into blues music, and it never left me. It just grabbed me and never let go, right? So I'm like, all right, cool, awesome. And so I was really wanting to do music, and throughout high school I was like, I don't want to do, because I went to high school in Australia, and so there was two paths. There's the vet path, and then there's the normal ATAR path. So ATAR is the examination at the end of the year. If you do the examinations, you'll get a score, and then you can use that score to get into courses at the local university or any university in Australia. And the other path is VET, so VET, which is vocational education training, where instead of doing ATAR, you do practical stuff. So you pick a certificate course and you get a certificate, so you get qualified in something. So that could be bricklaying or nursing, teaching, whatever. And for me, when I did my research, I found out there was a musical certificate, Cert 3-4 in music production. So I decided, okay, let's just do that instead, And it was really fun. I got to meet some friends. I even made a band with the people there. It didn't really go anywhere, but it was a lot of fun. And I was just this solidified in my head, music is where it's at. And so I did everything to try and learn more about it and sort of pivot my future into one where I can do that career. And so after graduating and getting those 2 certificates under my belt, I said to my parents, I'm going to try and audition at WAPA. And WAPA is the Western Australia Academy of Performing Arts. It's also the same, I think it's the same academy that Hugh Jackman performed in. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But yeah, it was pretty cool. And the process of auditioning for that, it's crazy hard. But I did it. I was just I might as well, I wasn't expecting anything, but if I'm going to do this dream, I'm going to actually go for it. So I did it. It takes a month, the whole process, and then 2 to 3 weeks of just waiting for the results. And once you get the results, I got an email, you got accepted, we want to have you. And I'm just awesome, cool. And so it looked like things were starting to push forward or move forward. And so I started going to WAPA. It's awesome. The first year, there's lots of ups and downs. Again, I was confronted with this. It's a recurring theme. Those feelings of comparison, right? I was learning a lot, but at the same time, I was with people my age who, for lack of a better way of saying it, they started running way before I did. So these guys have been playing music since they were literal children, like toddler, right? Or they come from families where music is the thing. Some of them are already doing gigs, some of them are already doing session work, and I'm just what is going on, man? And here I am trying to figure out what's this note, or how do I transpose this? It was I didn't realize at that time, but that would be another sort of thing that I would struggle with. Now fast forward 2 years, and then COVID happens, and classes switched to online. And that is, let me tell you, if you were doing a practical degree or whatever it was during that time, man, was it torture, because all the classes would be online, but then we would have band practice and all this stuff that we would have to do online as well. Obviously we can't do that because we can't be in the same room. So that sucked. Lessons sucked, and then also like the teachers. So like because they would do assessments online, sometimes it would just glitch out, and like latency issues and all this stuff, and you wouldn't be able to get anywhere with it. All that to say that combined with those pressures, and also the fact that this growing thing inside me of just like, I am not where I want to be and everybody else is where I want to be, it was this me putting them on a pedestal and me like really downplaying my progress made me feel really behind and had me questioning like, what was I even doing with my life? And so unfortunately I made the decision to drop out of WAPA, or more like I didn't do anything, so I was forced to drop out. And after that, it kind of sucked, man. Like, it felt like I had given up on this thing that I loved, which is music. But I told myself the thing that helped me with that decision was I started to hate music. And I did not want that to be the relationship with this hobby, this thing that I loved so much. So yeah, unfortunately, I had to let that go for a little bit. I did some soul searching and figuring out, okay, what's the next step? Like, where do I go after this, right? And so I remember being super into science as a kid, having all these books and like journals that I would write stuff in, like, what's this? The cross section of a leaf or whatever it was. I just found them randomly when I was cleaning in my room one day, and I was like, that's really cool. So I asked mom and dad, and then they were like, yeah, no, you used to be really into that, you know, sciencey related stuff. So I said, okay, why not? Let me see what universities I can get to with a science degree. And I found one, and I thought I'd major in environmental science because I thought I'd help the world. Spoiler alert, not really. All it does is like teaches you just how messed up the world is. And what we should have been doing things like 50 years ago, and now because we did it, now it's like almost to the point where it's irreversible, right? So I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. Anyway, so I do the course, and I actually like finish the course. But the way this ties into the whole Japan thing is I had a chance, I had an opportunity to go to Japan, like halfway through the course as like a study exchange kind of thing. I was missing a few credits to graduate, and I was like, I don't want to do another statistics unit. Like, screw that sucks. And then I saw, I'm like, oh, you can, you know, pay some money and then you can go and do this short-term exchange. It was like 2 weeks and a bit. And I'm like, okay, sure. And on that trip, I know it was like, it's the cliche of like, oh, you're visiting for like Japan, and everything's really good, so you decide to like go here and stuff. But it was more than that. It like unlocked something in me. I don't know what it was. I couldn't place my finger on it, but it was just like, I want to figure out how to do this thing. Because I had visited Japan before, but this time I was able to actually have a taste of what it was like to live there. Because there was like a dorm and everything. I could make friends, and they were teaching me all about like, you know, culture and stuff. So I did feel this like slight pull towards it. And I was like, okay, cool. But I know I had to finish my degree first, so I finished my degree. After that, I could not find a job as a environmental science person, right? Like I did lots of shifts at the, or like a couple shifts or volunteering shifts at the DVCA, which is like one of the environmental bodies in WA. And then rejection after rejection after rejection, like going to like applying for grad programs and jobs and stuff, and trying to talk around. Like I was doing lots of things, but I don't know, it really is hard, man. Like finding a job nowadays as a young person, it's like, it is hard. And that sort of derailed me even more, and going back to that recurring theme of like comparison, because looking on Instagram and talking to some of my friends, they were like already moving on with their lives, you know, building houses, getting married, having kids. I was just like, oh, okay, interesting. In my head, it solidified like, wow, I am really behind, like, or at least it felt as though I was really behind. I know I'm not actually behind, because I know now that I know that, like now here, after being here for a month, I'm just like, no, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. But getting there, to get into that realization was hard. So eventually I had to find work, so I settled for this. A friend of mine recommended me to be a receptionist at like a GP, which is like a doctor's center, right? And I worked that job for 2 years, and luckily it was a fantastic job, mainly because of the people that I was working with. Like, they were all, I was the only male receptionist, which is kind of new. All the elderly patients were just like, oh, it's a male receptionist, never seen that before. But yeah, so all my colleagues were women, and they were like so super nice to work with. It was like they treated me like their adopted son kind of thing, which is a really nice thing. So I'm really thankful for that opportunity and grateful that I had that chance. And basically I used those savings to fund this trip. So I'm here for 2 years as a student to try, and my goal is to get a very, very high level of Japanese in order to work in Japan and give myself more opportunities. But yeah, getting to that and sort of realizing for myself to like stop comparing to everybody else. Like, everybody else has a different sort of way of getting there. And I've had all these experiences that I've just talked about, you know, WAPA and dropping out, and then actually finishing a degree and using that to apply for stuff, and realizing that, you know, Japan is another adventure. Like, I wouldn't say it's a fresh start, because I know for a fact that I'm still struggling with those problems. You know, I still have those thoughts. But now having the life experience behind my belt, to be like, okay, like I know a little bit more about myself. I'm a bit more mature and older as well. I'm able to sort of now catch myself when I'm speaking those thoughts to myself, and really ask and really say like, hey man, like, are you sure? Or like, are you sure about this thought? Like, are you sure it's reality, or is it just something that you're thinking right now because of X, Y, Z, right? So I'm really happy that I'm able to do that now for myself, slowly. You know, I still have a lot to go in terms of managing my thoughts, but definitely way better than the kid that was straight out of high school and launched into this world of high expectations and pressure. But yeah, I refuse to let all those experiences that I had be for nothing. And so once I switched that mindset to be like, instead of comparing myself, and this mindset of like, no, I get to be this version of myself. I get to be this version that failed. I get to be this version who graduated. I get to be this version who is right here, right now, chasing another dream, essentially. So yeah, it is, I don't know. I've come a long way, and I know there's a lot more to go. Like, learning this past month has just been a massive sort of learning curve. And I've learned more about myself than I have in 2-3 years, you know, back home. And I'm excited to see what's next.